Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to the video? There's another paid request, this time for Jonathan Lindsey, who wanted me to do a commentary on the, I guess, what you call the extended cut of Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 film. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It could be for pretty much anything. And so, let's get started. Pause at the beginning. And this is the, I almost want to say director's cut, but it's called the extended cut. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. As the first image is this red background, where this is the 70s, so you even have shag carpeting on the walls. But of course, we're going to be seeing a lot more red in this movie. I prefer the longer version, but I will say theatrical did this bit better, because when the title came out, there was a sting like, ding. That's in the theatrical. And the extended, I don't know why it's not in there, or is this build up, and then bang, when Dawn of the Dead came up. So that's one thing I like the theatrical cut more. But actually, if I ever watch Dawn of the Dead nowadays, I watch the Mall Hours cut, which is like the longest cut of the film. It's stuff. It's the extended cut, but it's also stuff that was only in the European cut put into the extended cut, and all sorts of stuff. So it's the longest cut of the film. It's all on YouTube. It was called the Mall Hours cut, and now it's called, I don't know if it's like longer version. It's something else. There's George Romero, rest in peace, man. And I think his wife at the time, at least for a while, on the right there. Pulling my ass, right? There's Galen Ross, one of our lead characters. She would also be in the slasher film Madman, although she was credited as a different person. By the way, I watched this on, I got over there, the DVD, which is like, had all European, extended, and theatrical cuts, got the documentaries. It's a great set. I think it's out of print for long, but it's this one here, which is great. Love this set. And the rest is over there. Yeah, it's a great set. I remember this when it came out, it was a big deal because I'm such a huge fan of the film. And they did a great job with this. Anchor Bay is who did this. Yeah, you got the documentaries, you got the cuts of the film. Each cut of the film has a different commentary track. I wish the cast was not on the European cut, because to me that's the most inferior cut. I wish they put the cast on the extended cut. That's what they should have done. That's one of the bonehead mistakes on this. As much as I love this set, the bonehead mistake was having the cast watch the European cut. At least the theatrical, or I would say the extended cut. Just have them. You can have no commentary on the European cut. I think it'd be fine. But still, great documentaries. Love the music by Goblin. Of course, this is a sequel, but not a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, which George Romero did not have the rights to anymore, because I think it was called Night of the Living Ghouls or something, and then last minute change, and no one looked at the fine print of the copyright, so it became public domain. And George Romero didn't make any money off it. That's why you had so many of these cheap DVDs that could take the movie and put new scenes in it. Like the security guard in the background. It looks like he's, I don't know, ready to enjoy some. He's like the father of Hanson. Remember that band Hanson with those 3 kids with the blonde hair? The security guard looks like he's their dad. Right from the get-go, we're in the shitter. Right from the get-go, we're in this upheaval where Galen Ross is like, we don't risk people's lives, and the other's like, well, we need people to watch. Even then, always about the bottom line. And amidst all this chaos, yeah, this security guy, that, or, you know, joins the Partridge Family. Security guy's like, fuck this, I'm going. Get that fucking idiot off the air. I love that guy. I forget the actors' names. as you tell, I mean, 1978 is when this came out, and like I said, George Romero didn't make any money off this. Now, he did do a few other films, The Crazies, Martin, and I think it was Dario Argento's idea to kind of need and nudge George Romero to, hey, let's do another, why don't you do another movie like that? Why don't you do like a sequel or something? And Dario Argento helped get it made. One of the conditions was that he could take the film and have his own cut in Italy, which pretty much took a lot of the humor, what makes it Dawn of the Dead, and much more of a shorter, get to the blood and guts faster. But I do think that's the most inferior version. To me, I prefer the longest, which is the Mall Hours cut. I don't know what it's on YouTube now. I don't know why they're so mad at this guy. He's only telling the truth. People don't want to hear the truth. But I mean, he's telling the truth. He's not lying. Why don't you listen to him? The people with kills get up and kill. But again, here's our flyboy, David M.D. Great cast. I mean, I like these two, but I especially love when we get to our SWAT guys, Ken Foray and Scott Reiniger. Those are my two favorites. Ken Foray, my favorite, and Scott Reiniger. Our responsibility is finished. Also in the Dario Argento cut, there's much more of the goblin music, a lot less of the muzak from the mall, and yeah, we have these SWAT guys. And yeah, there was a Blu-ray of Dawn of the Dead, but it's so out of print, and they've done nothing since, because was it Richard Rubenstein? Whoever the hell the fucking idiot who owns it now, especially now that George Romero's passed away, and whoever. That guy's a fucking idiot. I mean, he spent all this goddamn money trying to do a 3D version of Dawn of the Dead, which I don't know what the hell could be 3D about this movie. It was never intended for 3D. And they spent all this money and then doesn't really get much of a release anywhere else because he wants that money back, and why the fuck would anyone pay him for that? So he has it held hostage when there could have been a lot more done with Dawn of the Dead, especially in the U.S. Here's Wooly. Wooly's about ready to go ape shit. And you listen to his dialogue, this shit wouldn't fly today. But he's pretty fucking unfiltered and uncensored and, out of his fucking mind. Yeah, this guy Ryder trying to talk to this younger guy, but he ain't gonna last long. He's like the guy in Saving Private Ryan. There you go. Nice headshot. By Tom Savini, of course. Tom Savini, who worked a bit with George Romero and Martin. And then this led Tom Savini to his career, where I think especially this film. And people, the guy with the red bandana, I think that's Martin himself. Fucking pigs are everywhere. Yeah, I think that's Martin himself, the vampire. Ooh, nice bloody shots. I mean, this film did back in 1978, but we can't do that nowadays. Yeah, I think this guy here, yeah, Martin the Vampire, Martin, he was the lead in that. John Amplis, I'm bad with names. Scott Reiniger tried. And I love this film since I saw it way back in the day. I saw this, I'm trying to remember, I can remember the year. God. It might have been 98, 97, 99. But I didn't see it as a kid. I didn't know about it as a kid, but it was in my teens. Either going to middle or just getting to high school. And here's Wooly going to go more ape shit. This is when I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it as a kid, and this is when I went, holy shit, right here. Oh shit! I remember rewinding the VHS. What the fuck? Someone's head just blew up. What the fuck? Ooh! Like, that is a visceral reaction. Yeah, Woo's gone ape shit. Now that head that blew up is actually a cast of Galen Ross, and then they made it black. Because the original ending was supposed to be a downer ending, like the Night of the Living Dead, where Ken Foray shoots himself. Then Galen Ross, I guess, put her head in the helicopter blades, even though she was pregnant, and there's no hope. And thank God they changed that, because I would have despised this movie. I would have. I don't think it works for this movie. I'm glad that it stuck to the landing and it finished. There's no blue balls, none of that. But yeah, since they had Cass's head, they figured to use it for that and blow it up. And that is a visceral reaction. But yeah, there's a store called On Q. I wouldn't say near, but the place we go to get groceries in that town was about, I don't know, 30 some miles away. Pretty far away. We was in Iowa, we'd go across the Minnesota border, and because we lived in a town where there's like one little teeny tiny grocery store and a gas station, a school, and a factory. And like two towns had like the same bit of business. No fast food, no Kmart, Walmart. I mean, literally you go through in 30 seconds. So you pass by Fairmont, Minnesota was really the only place to go to get any worth of groceries or items. It'd be like 30, 40 miles away. Go up there and there's a store named On Q. And that's where I found like a lot of stuff. John Carpenter's The Thing on VHS. I don't know if it later became like a Sam Goody or it became maybe it wasn't Sam Goody. I'm trying to remember the other, maybe like more. Ooh, nasty bite on the net. That's another visceral reaction. When I was a kid, I went, ooh, shit. Another on the arm. I know people make fun of the color of the blood. I'm fine with it. I like the color of the blood. I know it's not realistic, but this film kind of like a comic book. It's an adventure. It's horror. It's violent. It's bloody. It's, to me, action-packed. And especially the when you watch the Ball Hours cut, there seems like a lot more headshots you get to see in the. I think that's from the European cut. There's a bit more headshots, so they put that in the longer version. But again, I'm watching the. I don't know what you call that cut. It said extended, but technically the Mars is the more extended. But that's, again, this is the cut here is 2 hours and 19 minutes. The extended that's on that DVD. Yeah, how you want to put it. And here we saw him briefly, but this is the first formal introduction of Ken Foray. My favorite guy in the movie. I love this character. I think he does a fantastic job. I was drawn to his character as a kid. He would later be in a big role in, what was that George Romero film? Night Riders, From Beyond. I think he was a cop in, God, like a few bit roles in other stuff. Dr. Diddles or Ice Cream Man, Mr. Ice Cream Man. He was a cop in like one of those slasher movies. He's a guy I'm so surprised never blew up like to be a bigger actor. Even like the horror realm. Like, I would see this. I would cast him as the lead in a variety of horror or horror action movies, but never. I mean, these actors didn't get to do a whole lot, which is a fucking shame. I mean, you think about how classic Dawn of the Dead is, but that's with a lot of classics in the horror genre. You look Heather Langenkamp in Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, she wanted to do work, but not. I mean, other than I guess Jamie Lee Curtis, not a lot of them. Johnny Depp in Elm Street, but a lot of them didn't do a whole lot when they were the stars. Like Heather Langenkamp and Ashley Lawrence and Hellraiser, and they were in other films, but just considering how iconic a film they're in, you would think they would get more, but that's Hollywood for you. And this guy here, I guess they found a guy with actual one leg. Pretty much talking about how these people are going to give in. Sort of a word of warning to the future, as he puts, "We must stop the killing, or lose the war." See, the guy has one leg. Well, technically you have to kill all the zombies and then you'd win the war, so actually he's wrong about that. If you stop killing the zombies, then they don't bite you and kill you and eat you, so... I also, a lot of people make fun of the look of the zombies. I'm not bothered by it. I mean, Day of the Dead has more intricate designs, to be fair, but with how many people they have here, I'm fine with the way they look. Never bothered me as much as it did others. But yeah, on to, I don't know if it came Sam Goody or it might have been another store, and I forget the name of it. Like a video chain, not Blockbuster, not, you know, Mr. Movies, not, what's the one that's around now? It's still left. It's not that one. It's, I forget what it is called. Anyway, saw a VHS tape. Ooh, yeah. Light of man. A lot more shooting going on. 1 and the 2 and the 3. Yeah, get your ass down. Yep. I think in the theatrical this is a bit shorter, I believe. Trying to remember. Yeah, this is shorter than theatrical. Because I remember when I watched this cut, I'm like, man, this is a bit longer. Because yeah, there's a lot more headshots here. Like all this stuff is Scott Reiniger shooting. In the theatrical cut, that's definitely a shortened scene. But yeah, I had the VHS tape, and I had heard of the film through magazines and books. The cover, of course, that famous poster cover, is definitely a striking image. And on the back, there's like no pictures of the film. It's just this quote from Roger Ebert, like one of the best horror films ever made or something. And I'm like, wow. I knew Siskel and Ebert because they were on TV. Now this was done in the theatrical cut. Landed the helicopter, because when Ken Foray shot, it goes immediately to the body, flopping over, and Flyboy is looking at him. So this stuff, it is not in the theatrical cut with the helicopter bit here. Because it starts immediately with him right in the station, or whatever you want to call it, if not in the building. Yeah, none of this is in the theatrical. Which is why they should have had the cast watch the theatrical cut. I mean, watch this cut. Because they're in it more. I don't know whose bonehead idea that was, but they should have gotten fired for it. Fucking bonehead idea. Well, we need a commentator for the European version. No, you fucking don't. Or get Dario Argento to do it. Or get, you know, Tom Savini. Well, he was with George. No, you don't. Get fucking Richard Rubenstein. Get his sorry ass to do it. Sorry, that guy. Don't trust that fucking guy. But yeah, the VHS, I remember popping in and just from the get-go really being entranced by the music and the feel of the film, and it felt like a big movie in a weird way because it's a station in chaos and this whole SWAT team and these extras and zombies and gore, and then you have the whole thing with the mall, and I didn't even know it was about a fucking mall. Yeah, none of this is in the theatrical cut. And there's a Captain Rhodes himself. Rest in peace to him. But he would be in Day of the Dead remake as Rhodes. I'm running this monkey farm, Frankenstein. I wonder what the fuck you're doing my time. But yeah, this is only in this, well, it's in the mall hours cut, the longest cut, and it's in this cut. It's not in the theatrical. This was all cut out. I just thought it wasn't really needed, but again, it's nice to see it here. But again, if I watch this film nowadays, I would watch the longest cut, which I think there was a Blu-ray, I don't know if it was in Germany or something, that had that on there, but it quickly went out of print. It was only in one place as well. But I wish I could have that mall hours cut on a disc like that. Yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, there's a bit of a standoff here. But yeah, I remember watching the VHS tape and going, what's this about? And yeah, I didn't even know it was about a mall or anything. Just the gore, the violence, the action, all the headshots, and even as that young age, I understand what it's talking about with consumerism, but it didn't feel preachy. It didn't feel like a sermon, but it's there if you want to grab onto it. But it felt like a comic book come to life. And also like the color scheme that also screams comic book, like the red of the wall. This bit is in the theatrical. This bit here, that's what's left. So they just took the end bit with this. I believe so. What islands? Any islands? Where are you going? Up. This guy's like, huh? Light bulb. Oh, golly gee. How do I go back to Archie? Took the cigarettes. But they all have cigarettes. There you go. Back when people smoked in film. Now it's a big no-no. Can't smoke on film. Granted, smoking is bad for you, and I've never smoked, never cared to smoke. But hell, I mean, what I'm drinking is bad as well, so who am I to judge? This will kill me one day too, so. I have Mellow Yellow, but I have it in the fridge, and it's not cold yet. And kind of our first talk with Galen Ross and Ken Foray, who will be the last two survivors flying the helicopter into the distance. I guess in a way, with how popular Dawn of the Dead is, I'm surprised they never did like a Dawn of the Dead 2. I mean, you have Day of the Dead 2 Contagion, which has nothing to do with it, and they're doing that Night of the Living Dead 2, but it's got the cast from Day of the Dead. And then I don't know what the fuck happened to that movie. That was announced, and then that disappeared. Maybe, luckily, forever. It's not fucking needed. And I mean, like, if, like, in the 80s, like, in the heyday of action films, like, if you had but I mean, that would never happen. Because these films were not box office bonanzas. Probably Night of the Living Dead, if George Romero was able to get paid for it, then it probably was, but because these films were unrated, they got limited release. That's what I mean. Like, this film felt big. Like, the helicopter is an actual helicopter shot. Well, obviously the actors are kind of just sitting there, but you have these helicopter aerial shots. And look at all the people that got involved. Because everyone believed in George Romero. What are you looking at? I'm looking at your mother. Don't talk to your daddy like that. But all these extras, like the military vehicles, these extras, you got firemen. Like, they definitely got a scope to it. Because it was Pittsburgh, and people liked George, and they liked the Night of the Living Dead, and they wanted to come out and support, and fuck yeah, why not? And I mean, this cost, it didn't cost, 50, 40, 30, 20 million, much less than that. And I also like the music used throughout the film. I think it's very appropriate. And there would be hunters out here doing this. Like, would you do this and it's legal? Look out behind you. And people having fun. That's a bit of a weird cut because there's, where are the zombies on the ground when that car blew up? Like, they shot a zombie, so there should still be a zombie on there, but when the car blows up, the zombies are missing. So that's a bit of a fuck up with editing. So, little, hiccups here or there for his low budget. And then when you go back, they shot a zombie and it fell. It was dead, and there's like another zombie near it. Go shoot the car blows up, then there's no zombies, they disappeared. Maybe it's like one of those video games. When they die, they just melt away. Because they can't handle it. Now, this guy definitely has a big forehead for a reason. He's got a 5 head. It's for a pretty damn good gag. I mean, if you're talking about makeup effects, yes, Day of the Dead would be the prime example of it, but I like Day of the Dead. I do. I do prefer this because I love the lead, Ken Foray, Scott Roddinger, more. I like the characters Day of the Dead, I just like these two guys more, especially Ken Foray. He's my favorite in all the Dead movies, and I love the mall setting. It's much more that fun, like, action comic book movie. I remember watching it just going, man, like, this goes at a good pace, and it wasn't boring, and it seems like either you get these likable characters, or you have a bit more world building. Like, in a world of zombies, yeah, there would be hunters and military working together. Or it's built up to a gore gag, or, oh shit, Like, this will be, there are zombie kids. Out of order. Would you really want to drink out of that if it was out of order? Of course, you don't know how old that thing is. Coffee or whatever it is. Makes you wonder where the hell these kids came from. These zombie kids. Were they sons of the person there? Now this guy like runs. He had a weird way of running because he's not running this way. He like ran with his shoulder to the right. And the Dalen Ross, you're going like, do something, bitch. Don't just fucking stand there. Like, do something. I don't know why Dalen Ross just stands there like, come on, bitch, do something. Grab the fucking thing. Nice hit by Flyboy there. He has to literally push her. Get a move out, bitch! That's a pretty lousy hit. Like, you hit his armpit. Like, shove his armpit. As much as, I don't mind Dalen Ross, but of the four, she's low on the totem pole. She does a good job acting-wise. It's just, I like the other characters more. You get this great gag. From what I understand, there's a string, and they get to a point, they rip it, boom, rip the string, and then the blood comes down. Okay, Savini I know complains about the film because the blood is too crayon red, but I think that adds to the comic book feel to it. Might not have been on purpose, but it's a nice aftermath of it. I don't think the blades are really there. I think something about the animated or something. Oh, here's the kids. And it looks like Ken Foray gets bit, but he doesn't. Like, it looks like he gets bit there, but teeth are too fucking small, kid. Now, of course, they didn't want to put squibs on the kids, which I understand, so you do it with editing and showing little splotches on there. And this, this is a funny bit. Fucking waste of ammo. Get that shit out of here. Pop. Which makes sense, because he is a police, SWAT guy, and the other guy just flies a helicopter. It's a nice, funny little bit. And there's the poster. Right there. There's the poster. Fucking asshole. Get the fuck out of the way. Pop. I don't blame Ken Foray being pissed. Like, you shot at me, you could have hit me, motherfucker. I can't really blame him. If you don't know how to use a gun, don't shoot at someone. Well, you just say don't shoot at someone no matter what, but I mean, for defense, you better know what the fuck you're doing. If you don't respect the weapon will not respect you. Now, depending which version you see, and one, she just goes, Peter. And then another is a very rushed, kind of awkward, Peter, what the hell are you doing? So that depends on which cut of the film you watch. Ken Foray just had that presence, that charisma. He should have done more, man. I don't think it was his choice. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was his choice. As bullshit. He should have been. I'm surprised they didn't, like, you watched Dawn of the Dead? Why the fuck would you not cast Ken Foray in a bunch of leading roles? And people go, maybe he didn't like the script. Well, I mean, look at some of the films he did afterward in big parts. I mean, decades later, what was that zombie film he was in? He was one of the lead roles. It was sadly a pretty crappy, low-budget one. But he deserved a lot more. Now, George Romero, may he rest in peace. Never was into Night of the Living Dead, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to lie, I was never a fan. This is my favorite. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's my favorite film, I think they say it was my favorite film of the 70s. Because Jaws is up there, and Alien is up there and stuff, but this one might push it because it's that right spot of action, horror, gore that hits the soft spot down here. Although I absolutely love Jaws. I go back and forth. Like, right, you ask me next week, it could be a different answer. I know I absolutely adore this movie. And this is where they landed on the mall. Or on top of the mall, I should say. And sadly, it's a bit of an outdated thing because malls are pretty much as dead as these zombies. Thanks to the internet, thanks to Amazon, thanks to especially stuff like the pandemic and all that other stuff, just these malls and these stores can't hold on to business if they're not making money, you know. Like, you go to a mall now, it's as empty as it is here. And I'm sure there are malls around, but very, very little of them. Which is a shame, because when I was growing up, we didn't have a mall around here. So then when I would see a mall in a movie, in a weird way, I lived vicariously through the movie of something that it'd be cool to look around all these stores, and there's a video store, or a video game store, or arcade, or I mean, you'd have an arcade, but you wouldn't have a lot of that in '78. But still, the idea of a mall and just an environment that always fascinated me, and as a kid could never. I mean, I think went to Mall of America when I was like 7, maybe. But I don't remember much about that. I really don't, sadly. But I think Mall of America is still around. I would love to visit that one day. Before that fucking goes gone. Gone like the dinosaurs. But yeah, nowadays people are like, what the fuck is a mall? But definitely a different time. And don't get me wrong, I love the Amazon, that stuff. It does make it easier. I can't really blame, like there's not a mall around here. I mean, I don't know if there was one in the past, but or it got. I think it looks like there was one, but it's completely empty. But which is easier? You stay at home, you order 5 minutes online, and it comes to your mailbox, or you drive up, you look around, people are coughing, kids are crying. Kind of like the movie theater, just one of those that convenience goes above novelty. What is more convenient? Watch a movie at home or watch it in the theater? Go to a mall and pick up something, or wait for it at the mailbox? There was a mall in Fairmont, Minnesota. That was actually the mall that had that on-cue store. I think there was a store called... Was it Woolsworth? I can't remember. There's a lot of stores I remember that people are like, what the fuck, what are you talking about? You speaking gibberish? Like, there's stores from long ago, like Pomida, Shopko, Co with a K, Shop K-O, K-O, Shopko, Pomida, Woolsworth, just a whole lot of fucking on cue. Again, people think I'm speaking an alien language, but it shows how old I am. And now they don't look through the mall. Which, I mean, I can't blame them, because there's a lot of supplies and shit they could get. Hey, they left you a weapon. Yeah, that's a guy you can feel and trust in, Ken Foray's character. I know this mall is still around, Monroeville Mall, but from what I understand, it's like a Sean Clark. Sean Clark did, on his YouTube channel, did a video on the, pretty good video, pretty lengthy, on the mall, because he was there with his buddies years and years ago, and there's like an intermixed with newer footage. And yeah, if you go to Sean Clark, who did those Horrors Hallowed Grounds, he did one on Dawn of the Dead. It's a really cool one. It's on YouTube. But I mean, a lot of the malls changed. Like, if you go there now, you would barely recognize it. Because I mean, that was 1978 and it's 2022. That's a lot of years since. I think there's a plaque. There's a thing that says George Romero and blah blah blah. Keys to the kingdom. Those are those walkie-talkies. Look how fucking big they are. Now you look at like how small a cell phone is nowadays. But I just love that, they picked a good mall too. I mean, so I love the way the movie's lit. Maybe it's because of that film stock. Maybe it's just the 70s, the way they shot. Like the mall itself became a character. Like I said, I love like the green and the I don't know what you call it, soft lighting. Of course, that car will come into play later. And of course, this definitely was an inspiration for that video game Dead Rising later on. Which I know they tried to make a movie, but it was like really cheap, cheap, cheap. And I'm not a bird. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Crap. I forgot what fucking company. Was it some website? Like crap. I forgot what. They look like they cost $80, and I'm sitting there going, you could make that game. You could make into a decent sized movie. Give it the budget like Army of the Dead, or even Dawn of the Dead remake got, and you could make a good Dead Rising movie. But I mean, the idea malls are so dead now. I always wanted to see a really good big budget Die Hard in a mall. I mean, the closest he did is that Dean Cain film, Christmas Rush, also known as Breakaway, which I like. But, it's made for cable, made for TV. Eric Roberts is the bad guy. Dean Cain is fun. There's some pretty decent action bits for a made for cable movie. It's fun, but you tell it's limited in budget, but it's fun. I mean, the closer you get to a big budget is fucking Paul Blart Mall Cop. Security with Antonio Banderas was okay, but again, limited in budget. I would say like those are the closest you get to that, but again, malls are such a dead concept nowadays. It's sad, but I mean, what can you do? You can't change. I mean, the internet, to be fair, is one of the best inventions we've got because of how we can interact and talk to people and converse, and it changed everything. It really did. The way things operate changed. Movies, games, the whole concept of games, you do everything. You buy, you pay bills, you do your taxes, you contact, you talk, everything. That's why kick his ass. Save bullets. They're maniacs. Now you have the hotshot flyboy, which will come to bite him on the ass later. I think in the European cut there's more headshots. That's probably the only good asset. And that's why it's cool to watch the Mole Hours cut. You have the great stuff in this extended cut, but you get the bit more of the gore that's in only the European cut. And like I said, here it's called the extended version, but technically, well, I already mentioned that. But yeah, this is a good set for anyone who's into Dawn of the Dead. You get the fuck out of here. Fine, pull his ass in. Give me my fucking gun back. God damn it. I would just go pull the fucking trigger and blow whatever brains out is there. Maybe you can't reach the trigger. I'd be like, just pull the trigger. Just reach him. Well, do you really want to reach your hand in there to get bit? I guess I can't blame him for that. I wouldn't want to reach my hand to get bit. There you go, nice headshot. They don't skip on the headshots. And it's done practical with squibs. I understand squibs are dangerous. I understand that. That's why you have to have people know what the fuck they're doing. Look at all the squibs in this, and they did it safely. Get people know what the fuck they're doing. That's the problem. You have to train people to get them to do better. Because if they're shitty at doing that, they'll be shitty at doing something else, and then shitty at doing that. I like the sense of humor. I don't think it's too... Even like the pie scene later on may seem crazy, but I like the excitement and fun. It's like two kids in a candy store. It's just a mannequin. Man, where'd you carry all that shit? Oh, and these two guys worked so well together. They had great chemistry. Now I know this scene got added in later because he has this shirt around his waist, this coat, this shirt. At one point it's missing, so they had to explain how this thing disappeared. So they shoot a scene where it gets grabbed. So he has this thing around his chest. So they added this scene where they... Ah, that's a fun bit. Boom. A lot of people at the mall would want to slide down like that. But yeah, Ken Foray, Scott Reiner, they just worked so well together. I mean, hell, if the movie was just these two guys, I think the movie would have worked out just as perfectly fine. But in Galen Ross, I don't mind. But it's just that she's kind of the... How I put it, the party pooper. She's kind of the party pooper of the group. That's kind of her job, to be the party pooper. I do like David M.D. though. He does a good job playing a zombie later on. And yeah, you need a guy to mess some things up, and he's the guy to do it because he's not as tactical as, oh, there's a zombie back there, way in the background. No for later. But I was talking about George Romero. I mean, if I'm thinking about my top 5 favorite George Romero films, they would be Dawn of the Dead #1. I'll put Day of the Dead #2. Love Rhodes. Love the makeup effects. Laurie Cardille, Terry Alexander. So Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, the originals. Then I will put actually Twilight Monty Shines. That'd be #3. #4, Creepshow, and #5 I'll put The Dark Half. Because I don't mind The Dark Half. But Martin is there, but I don't love it. The Crazies is there. I actually prefer the remake. But I don't mind the Crazies. I do prefer the remake though. Land of the Dead is okay. I do Land of the Dead is okay. It's just not memorable. His two worst are Survival of the Dead and Diary of the Dead. Those are his two worst ones. I mean, I remember watching Bruiser over those two. One of them, didn't they have like them eating a fucking horse or something? And they both had terrible CGI. Diary of the Dead is like, let's do it found footage. I'm like, why? I mean, it's not as bad as the Zombie Diaries, but Diary of the Dead was pretty fucking lame. And I respect and miss George Romero, but I'm not gonna love every film he did. John Carpenter's my favorite director. I still think The Ward sucks. Get Up Close So You Don't Miss. Tough Titty. Oh shit. And sorry about the clearing of the throat. But yeah, this was done by Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay. Back in the day, they were the king of doing these type of DVDs, and then sadly, they just... I don't know if it was the type of films they were releasing after a point, or they just were not... there's only so many times you do re-release Evil Dead. And I love Evil Dead, the original, but when you release it 18 times, people get a bit tired of it. I think, sadly, Scream Factory is kind of heading down that road. And if they don't watch it, they're going to be one of the first of these new Blu-ray companies to go under. And, I loved a lot of Scream Factory stuff, on a side note. I Come in Peace, and Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, The Ambulance, Leviathan, My Bloody Valentine, the true uncut version, cleaned up. I mean, they released the Blob remake from 1980. There's a lot of films they've done that I love. But lately... just don't really care for their practices. Every other fucking release having an audio issue. Like Dodge Soldiers, I wanted to get the 4K. Oh, there's an audio issue. Well, I'm not fucking getting it then. There's Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Are there still Hare Krishnas? That was like a theme back to the day. Like Airplane did a joke or that, and you have this where Hare Krishnas and try to sell you something. I know it's a weird thought, but I haven't thought of a Hare. I don't really think of Hare Krishnas, but I don't think of hairy women either. But Hare, whatever happened? I mean, I guess. Hey, is anyone out there watching Hare Krishna? Let me know if like you never. That's never thought of and brought up in movies like they were back in the day. Fucking tackle their ass to get back in there. I think this is where we get the zombie popping up, because we had to have this. The zombie must have been smart to pretend to be a mannequin, but they had to find a way to get rid of this coat. So they came up with this scene, but it worked out because you get this good screwdriver gag. Nice gag here. Boom. Ooh. Which is fine because you don't see it penetrate. It's just you see the blood bubbling up, and you just your mind fills in the details. Not sliding down the mall this time, or sliding down those escalators. You tell that David MD, like, he can't stop here, so he just almost like runs through the fucking thing. Like, he can't quite stop it. Ooh. But his right arm was feeling that. I don't know, when I think of the 70s, I always think of that joke in Bulletproof. What was that Adam Sandler said? How you know if it's a 70s porn? If the guy's dick has sideburns. 70s, I mean, the style, the clothes, the hairstyle, but it's a movie of its time, but at the same time, it still works today. It's dated. Every fucking film is dated. A week after, especially nowadays when they bring up politics and stuff, it's fucking dated a week later. It's always going to be dated, no matter what. CGI from last year is already outdated. I mean, let's be honest. I think even some of those people that play the zombies, they go on conventions and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this film is, like I said, absolute classic to me. It's a reflection of the time it was made, but at the same time, consumerism. It might not be in malls, but just more of a internet basis is still apparent. It just works as an adventure movie, going through all the different types of stores. That's the thing with a mall, is that it's one setting, but it's many settings. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the claustrophobic setting, you're in this one location, but because there's different stores with different backgrounds, one's clothing and one's this, one's that, then you have such a variety, so it doesn't feel stagnant. And that's why I think if you had a big budget, a Dyer in a mall could work really well. Like I said, there's been a couple either stupid comedies or Paul Blart or other stuff, but this is the elevator that would come David MD's death chamber later. Flyboy got to fly high for his britches. That's the thing with filmmaking, like those are two completely different spots, but they made it look like one. He pops up, he's in the same location, but technically he's in a different one. And also it has a little bit of the, how do I put it, fantasy fulfillment, where I guarantee you there's a lot of people that thought, man, what if you lived in a mall? What if you had full control of a mall, full control of all these stores, all of this stuff that you could get and do and buy and eat, and like you had a whole mall to yourself. You didn't have to worry about the power. You didn't have to worry about anybody, kicking you out. You have full control. Like all the shit that you can do. Just works out well. The gun store, which we'll see later. Now, of course, that is a thing of the movies. Highly, highly doubt, even in 1978, there'd be a fucking gun store in the mall. I mean, there's a point of that. I think Walmart was selling guns, so I guess it's not that crazy. Because I remember back in the day at Walmart, you'd go and you'd buy a fucking gun in the back of Walmart or something. Kmart, Walmart, wherever, whichever. I think even that Michael Moore even commented on one of his, whether you want to call it documentary or fiction, whatever, he commented about that. I'm like, that is true. Because I remember seeing them as a kid. So, I mean, maybe it's not as crazy as I think. If for anyone out there who was living in the 70s, did any of your malls have a gun store? I mean, maybe it's not as crazy as I think. But of course, nowadays that would never happen because you get in and you shoot up the whole mall, you shoot up the whole location. That's why in the Dawn Dead remake, that was across the way. Which actually worked out because it made it different, and Ving Rhames and that guy, was it Andy? Like, their relationship, their friendship was kind of, I thought, one of the best parts of that movie. They used the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, trying to get some Poontang Bhaya. Because Flyboy took her fucking gun. Oh great, this guy trying to shoot. There goes the Hare Krishna. Sorry, I went blank there for a minute. I was just watching the film. I forgot what the hell I was talking about. God, look how small those TVs are. But that was the thing back in the day. You had those small TVs that you would try to hook something up and maybe watch outside or something. Nowadays, people, you just use your fucking phone to watch it. Cheese and... what the hell is that he's putting on his crackers? I know that one's cheese, but what's that black shit? I've never had, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if getting drunk is the best idea, but... yeah, back in the day when TVs had antennas, I'm sure there's people like, what the fuck is that? Why does the thing have ears? No, back in the day, TVs actually had this thing called antennas. They had to mess around with to fix the damn thing. So it comes in clear. Super, super clear. Well, it was never super clear, but yeah, back in the day you had that. I remember those TVs, and you had to go up and change, click, click, click. Channel 6, channel 7. There's like 12 channels possible. Nowadays, there's like hundreds of them, and barely anyone watches them because watch YouTube or other stuff online. Now this is the whole she's pregnant, do you want to abort it, all that stuff. See, this is not put in here as a fucking big politic of abortion is right or wrong. This is a character development, character point. We learn something new about the character. She doesn't want to be treated as weaker. She wants to learn how to use a gun. She wants to learn how to fly, which makes sense. And these two, you tell, they would not have the most loving, If they had gotten married, they would have divorced like a month later. Not really a happy couple, so to speak. I'm trying to think if that's in the theatrical cut that she's pregnant. I can't remember. It's been forever since I've seen the theatrical cut. I just honestly, when the extended version of this, I always just watch that, and now I just watch the Mall Hours cut. So I don't even remember what the thing I remember with the theatrical cut is some of the stuff that's not in it, and I didn't at the very beginning that scene that I talked about when the Dawn did title, which I do wish that was left in the extended cut. I do wish. And as much as people want to call this dated, the fact there's no crappy CGI to me means it dates better than a lot of the films, whether in the late 90s era, early 2000s, especially early 2000s with that CGI shit. Like, I mean, I think this dates better than even, what's a film I don't mind? The Mummy Returns I didn't mind, but I think because that shit like the Rock, Scorpion King shit CGI, like this dates better than that movie. But there's a lot of bad movies that I could mention too, but I just want to mention one that I didn't mind. I always don't talk about the Dawn of the Dead remake, but I will in a little bit. And a lot of these cuts to these zombies to let the viewer know they're still out there and make them still a presence to the viewer. Wonder what happened to that guy, that fat one. What happened to the fat one? He may no longer be with us, so if so, that's too bad. What are you talking? Because okay, he's a big boy. Stop messing the mannequin. Mannequin didn't do shit to you. Leave the mannequin alone. There's Fidel Castro. Nah. That's a guy that was in the original The Crazies, though, with the eye patch. He was in the original The Crazies movie. I think when I first saw this, for some reason I thought that guy with the eye patch was George Romero. I don't know why. But that's Gene Shalit. No, it's not Gene Shalit. I forget the actors' names, though. But yeah, the Dawn of the Dead remake, I did see in the theater. Ah, yeah, this is when they're going to get the trucks. But yeah, the Dawn of the Dead remake, I remember that came out in 2004. I remember I was in San Marcos, Texas at the time, and on cable, I think on Sci-Fi Channel, they had a trailer, not a trailer, but they showed a clip of it on Sci-Fi, like, come watch the first 10 minutes right now, and the movie comes out Friday or next week. Come watch the first 10 minutes, and it had that opening scene, which was fantastic. Still think that's Zack Snyder's best movie. And then when I saw it in the theater, because where I was living at the time, the theater was pretty nearby. I mean, I could literally walk there. It would not take 5-10 minutes, but I could walk there, and you know, at that time the weather was usually nice, so I could just walk there and go to saw Dawn of the Dead in the theater, the remake, and I had a good time. The CGI zombie baby was a bit much. The end credits I thought was a bit of a downer. But I liked the cast. I liked the visceral direction of Zack Snyder, the way he made that film look and the way it was directed. I didn't mind the cast. Sarah, I forget her name, Sarah Polly. I told you I was bad with names. Ving Rhames was a boss in that. I liked a lot of the characters in that. At least the main ones. The supporting ones, like the stupid girl, the doggy, just let her die, please. But, I thought it was a pretty good remake. This is much better in my opinion, but I thought that remake was a very fun one. I did like the remake quite a bit. Definitely think it's one of the better remakes. I mean, compared to like Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and other remakes, it's a fucking masterclass work. I still think it's Zack Snyder's best movie. Now, pretty much they don't blot the entrances so the zombies don't try to get in more, and then they're in a clean house. I wonder, has anyone done a timeline as to how long they actually stayed at the mall? Just like this, it's going to take more than a day or 2 days to do all this, and then they clean the mall out, and then it seems like they decorated the whole area there upstairs. And has anyone detailed like how long they were actually at this mall before they leave at the end? Was it a year? Was it 4 or 5 months? If anyone knows, well, I mean, I ask those questions. I don't think people watch these I don't blame them, because these comedies aren't much. But I appreciate people sending requests for them. I hope people enjoy them. But I don't really have much to offer, so I don't blame people. Time's too short to be listening to my sorry ass, but because sometimes I ask questions and no one says in the comments. But if anyone knows, let me know about how long do you think they stayed here, or if there's if they say in I don't know if anybody involved with the film ever mentioned, oh, it's probably this. Like, they had full control of this place, and it makes for just a lot of these shots, like a lot of stuff that you had to do and pick like different angles. Just, yeah, I think that was Tom Savini that got hit by the truck and flew back. There's other than Tom Savini liked doing stunts. They had like he did a shot of a helicopter, like all these shots had different angles and everything there. And just a lot of stuff they had to do and deal with, and this guy getting too cocky. Getting way too cocky. I will say this turn of Scott Reiner, where he's being like so cocky, I think it comes a little bit out of nowhere. I mean, it never bothered me that much, but as I'm watching it again, it does seem to come a little bit out of nowhere that he gets this cocky. I mean, he's having fun in the mall with Ken Foray, but at the same time, it's like, with just how much he's doing, it's like, I don't know if they need to be a little bit more build up to that or something to that effect. I don't know. Because he's just getting too cocky for his britches, and then that literally bites him in the ass. Or, doesn't bite him on the ass, but, he gets bit for it. Yeah, always close. You should close the fucking door. Just saying, you should always close the fucking door. I don't know why he doesn't close the door. Why, again, guy's not paying attention. Which is why he died, Too complacent. They're everywhere. Can't quite get it done. Point, man. Flyboy, why don't you point with your fucking finger? You point. You put your hand out, you go this. Or there. You go like this. That's what you fucking do. Ran that sucker over. But also that might be why, like, early on they give Sky Rider a bit more zombies to kill. I mean, Ken gets this one, Bullseye. But like you see, like he killed the zombie with the screwdriver, and feel because he's going to be the first to go, and then it'll be much more up to Ken Foray to take care of zombies, as well as those bikers later on. So he's going to be in it more, so he's going to have a lot more to play with. But I guess I'll take back a little bit what I said. This right here pretty much showcases where he's, you just had blood shot. This is kind of where he's turned. We got this by the ass. Yeah, that's kind of the turning point for his character. So I take back a bit what I said. Like I say, it's been a while since I've seen the film. As much as I love it, it's just time. But yeah, I just that head getting shot right into his face, and yeah, he hits a zombie, right, and he washes the blood off with the windshield. Blood frenzy. There's Tom Savini. I think that was Tom Savini. Right there. It wasn't before. I think it might have been, but I think that was Tom Savini. Yeah. Blood crazed. Be his downfall. But yeah, just like, having all this to work with, like all these extras. They use it to block all the entrances. Ooh. Hey, how about a hand, buddy? So like he could get in this fucking vehicle now, but just taking too much time. That's what Ken Foray's like, get the fuck in here now. What are you doing? Just taking too much goddamn time. Too much time. Here we go. Nice job, man. Not yet. Not yet. At least they show where Galen Ross a little bit more growth, like shooting, flying, and being more capable. Fuck the bag. Get a new bag. Get new stuff. I mean, it's true. Like you don't get detailed too if you keep this up. I mean, he's got a point. He's got a good point. I mean, I'm also surprised in a way that there was never like a video game made. I mean, I guess you just say the closest you got was Dead Rising, but I mean, they did what? He had Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre for Atari. You had Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street for Nintendo and Jaws for Nintendo, and but you never had a Dawn of the Dead game. Like clear all the zombies out in the mall. Blah 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 blah. I mean, even after all these years, here he goes. He's going to get spit a second time. Yep. If you know your zombie movies, you know he's done for. Yeah, I think that headshot was on the theatrical cut that Deanna Ross shoots. I don't think it is. I could be wrong. So yeah, we pretty much know where this is going to go. Well, I've seen the film. Even if you haven't seen the film, you know where this is going to go. I thought Ken Foray did a good job, like on his face, his eyes. You could tell just how pissed off and sad he is about this. I think he says like 3 days. Like they turn like maybe 3 days it takes. The gun shop. Again, I know they want to have this. Well, as far as I know, they want to have this. But I mean, hey, they have this all this cool stuff. I'll let that go. I'll let a bit of the fantasy go further with that. That's why I don't think films. It's fine if films are not 100% realistic. If it's stretched to create satisfaction and fun, I can go with it. You don't want to do that. We'll have our time to clean house. I mean, all this ammo, I mean, and weapons. You clear out a shitload. That's why I'm surprised there's so many of these guns left. You would think with the zombie apocalypse, all these guns and ammo would be gone. People would have just come in and stole. That's why the thing with the whole. I mean, I know there's zombies here, but a lot of people would have already gone in and stole the shit. You're gearing up. Got your 6-shooters, got your rifles, shotguns. Lot stocked and ready to go. Ready to take down some buffalo. Here we go. And we also established this whole bridge for the supplies so that we have something for Scott Reiniger to go in later. That guy that still has the gun, he pops up at the end of the film too. Nice headshot right there. Yeah, I think there's more headshots here compared to theatrical. And there might be more in the European cut. I could be wrong. I swear there's more in that one. As for the difference between this and the Mall Hours cut, I can't remember all the differences. I can't. All the stuff that's added. Can't remember. Now, zombie movies in general, I mean, nowadays it's such a... It's a subject and a subgenre that's been milked dry. I mean, because in a way, for a lot of filmmakers, that's like a cheaper way to make a horror film. What's a creature? Well, it's a human. You put some makeup here, you put some makeup here, you have them walk slow, and it's not making a whole bodysuit or creating a CGI effect, although some are doing that with zombies. And it's just, there's been so many. I remember there was like one a week coming out, it seemed. Just like those fucking shark movies. Like one a week. It's like, there's been zombies in space, there's been zombies in this, zombies in that. Zombie sharks. I mean, what more can you do with a zombie? Even zombies that are not zombies, they're infected. Like 28 days later, they're infected. They're not zombies, and just now you have that whole thing too. They're not zombies. They're just crazy infected. They act like it. So again, it just, how much more can you do? Been too goddamn many. And that's the thing, when you get so goddamn many, it just becomes, people get bored with it. And then there's a lot of bad ones too. Now, zombie films I do enjoy. I mean, this is my favorite. I enjoy the Day of the Dead original. I did like the Dawn of the Dead remake. Some nice headshots from Ken Foray there. Again, in the European cut, there might have been more of that. Oh, this is like a just feel that tearing. That blow her fucking brains out. But I'm trying to remember. It's funny. There's been so many, but I'm trying hard to remember. I don't mind Cooties, not Cuties. The Netflix Cooties, Cooties, with Elijah Wood, where it's a comedy horror zombie where kids eat this like infected chicken nugget thing, and you say they're not zombies, but then they act like zombies, but it's an infection, a virus, just like in that category. I really enjoyed Warning Sign from the 80s with Sam Waterston, Yaphet Kotto, and Kathleen Quinlan. Warning Sign is a very underrated film. I'm trying to remember zombie movies. Night of the Living Dead remake from 1990. I did enjoy that film. I did enjoy, even as low budget it is. I like Battle of the Damned with Dolph Lundgren. Just Dolph Lundgren got to kill some zombies and even had robots in it. Even though it was very bad CG, but it was fun B movie. Battle of the Damned. Another B movie, cheap. I Am Omega with Mark Dacascos. Even have a scene, although too brief, but it's a scene where he uses nunchucks against zombies. Yeah, I think Mark Dacascos actually does a decent job in the role. Pretty good job actually. I didn't. It's an asylum film, but honestly, I think it's the best asylum film, and that's not saying much. And it's still not a 4-star movie. It's not 5 out of 5. It's probably not even 4 out of 5. But it's fun for what it is as a B movie, but has its imperfections. Dead and Deader with Dean Cain, I actually remember liking. I know I don't love it as perfect, but I liked it for what it was. Dead and Deader, and that's with that Dean Cain. I think it was made for sci-fi maybe, but I do remember liking it. I'm trying to remember now. It's funny. There's been so many yet I can't remember half of them. I'm ready to clean house. I will admit, as the action junkie, I wish we could have seen more of them cleaning house. They probably couldn't afford it, and you did a decent amount of headshots. But I would love to have seen them more of cleaning house. But I'm just greedy like that. Nice headshot. Instead, you get this listening to the gunshots. Again, they got away with a lot with the low budget they had, so they're not gonna be able to show everything. Sorry, buddy, I have no baseballs for you. I have a pair of balls, but they ain't for you. We get to the. Oh, we're not there yet. Because that's when Ken Foray's wearing like this fur coat. That's when he says the best line, where there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. But we're not there yet. That's when he's wearing like this fur coat thing. But here's the reveal. They cleaned house. They took the mall and the mall is theirs. And as Ken Foray will say, we gotta clean it up. There's all these bodies gonna rot and it's gonna be stinking up the joint. So they gotta clean it up. Yeah, a shitload of guns there. I don't blame him. I would have as many guns as possible there. Yeah, and sadly, Scott Reiner is not holding up. We whipped him good. This is where he's going a bit hazy with it. I'll be right back. I do have to get some water, but I'll let this play out so I don't screw up the thing. The timing, I should say. So I'll be right back. Actually, I'm not going to go too far because I got a sink over here, so maybe you can still hear my voice. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead just, you wouldn't make that movie today. And they tried. I mean, there's a lot of zombie movies out there, but it's just, like I said, it's either a lot of CGI or, like, this did not have a lot of budget, but they must have had they definitely had a lot of ambition, and they had a lot of help from the locals, and they believed in George, so maybe that helped out the best as well. So, you gotta have people that believe in you like that. And I just nowadays they don't really have that with people. And plus, again, zombies are such an old hat nowadays. If you've seen 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 of them, what more can you do? That's just entire that question. What more can you fucking do with zombies? Like I said before, I mean, again, they've done so fucking much with the stuff, with that concept. Is that thing? Is there any more you can do? I mean, obviously, with the amount of time they're there, it can't be like a year or something, because if she's pregnant, she would have had the baby. So, you know, the more I think about that, you know, it's got to be less than 9 months. She'd be really be showing, barely move. So it has to be a matter of months, not years. So, I mean, I don't know if it's 3 months, I don't know what it is. Okay. Of course, I'm looking at my phone to see if I can get some more info, and it blows up with news on She-Hulk. Like, I care about She-Hulk. Watching actually something worth a shit. Dawn. Okay, yeah, I did. She-Hulk. Blah 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 blah. Sorry. Money, money, money. I like the way Ken Foray says it. Money, money, money. I mean, yeah, he even says you never know, because I like that, because you're like, what the fuck, the point is the money. But as he puts it, you never know. And now you have the mall. Why not? God damn, like, all this, now it's Facebook, like, you're not on Facebook for one day and it does all this shit. Let's see. Yeah, the mall hours cut is called the complete cut. So there, the complete cut. 155 minutes. Yeah, Austrian distributors XT Video. That's what it was. They released it, but sadly that's out of print. And just this is the fun montage of just be able to explore the mall, kind of the fulfilling like a fantasy of what you can do with a mall, what you're able to do with it. You can do anything you want. You get as much food as you want. You can play at the arcade. You can cut your hair. You can do anything and everything. Splurge, get greedy, all that stuff. Enjoy. Here's the arcade. This is an arcade in 1978. Imagine an arcade like in 1995. Man, these old school games, man. They've come a long way from, a long fucking way with video games. Trying to see if there's something that really goes into detail what the countless extra snippets throughout the Argento cut were added to the 139-minute Con cut, which is this cut. These include extra headshots in the mall scenes, various dialogue extensions such as the bikers in the finale planning their attack strategy. So, like, it's extra bits of dialogue, extra gore headshots, things of that nature. And that's where he says that great line, "The dead will walk the earth when there's no more room in hell." But yeah, the cut that we're watching is what the extended Cannes Festival cut. That's with the scene with the cops, Joe Pilato from Day of the Dead, Captain Rhodes. Yeah, you have the US cut, you have the European cut. I guess there's not one that just shows all the differences. At least I can't find it. Let's see, is there any trivia to look into for a bit? Sorry guys, I'm trying. I mean, it is a 2-hour, 20-minute movie, but I'm doing my best. No, not the remake. This is where Scott Reiner's not going to be in the film too much longer. But his makeup is interesting. I remember there was also some posters of like him kind of different stages of his makeup. I think there was on some VHS tapes as well. Savini chose the gray color for the zombie skin since Night of the Living Dead was in black and white and the zombie skin tone was not depicted. But on film they looked a bit blue. Again, didn't bother me. Extras who appeared in the film were given $1 in cash, a donut, and a Dawn of the Dead t-shirt. Dario Argento was a fan of George Romero's work. He insisted Romero come out to Argento's native Rome to write the script without distractions. He provided most of the film's soundtrack in return for the rights to edit the European version of the film, assisted in raising the necessary funds. The two zombie children are the real-life niece and nephew of Tom Savini. The film was released with no rating. The outdoor scene with hunters, emergency crew, and soldiers were done through local volunteers. Several local hunters arrived on scene with their own weapons. The local National Guard division showed up in full gear, and local emergency crew were present all voluntarily. Monroeville Mall took place during winter of 1977 to 1978 with a 3-week reprieve during the Christmas shopping season. They had to start filming at 10 p.m. and finish at 6 a.m. When Roger slides down between the escalators. That was Scott Reiner's idea. Some of the zombies were actual amputees. Here we go. We don't get the reveal of Scott Reiner. Very good, interesting makeup. And there's also a note that he's one of the few zombies we don't see get shot, which I thought was appropriate because we've cared for this character, we like this character, and sort of that respect of he's one of the few that we don't see. It's very adamant we see headshot, hotshot. This is one of the few that we don't see. We just get the sound, and that sells it all. That bit of restraint I thought was very appropriate. Because, you know, like the character, didn't want to see his brains splattered. I thought that was a good choice. There's Fidel Castro again. If he was a pirate. The shooting budget was reported to be $1.5 million. On his commentary track, Richard Rubenstein admitted that the amount was inflated, and the actual budget was around $500,000. $500,000? I mean, this doesn't look like a $500,000. This is like a much bigger. The fact $500,000 is able to get all this, that's insane. Even if you took inflation, how much would that be with inflation? I'm curious if something said here with that, how much that would be with inflation. I'm curious. Does that say what that would be with inflation? Let me see. What would $500,000 in 1978 be in today's? See if that says anything. That's vague. Why is it? I hate that. It doesn't. Sometimes doesn't fucking do what you want to do. Yeah, inflation. $500,000 in 1978 would be worth $2.2 million today. I mean, that's what it says here, $2.2 million. One says $2.1 million. And that's what it says. I mean, that's less than $3 million. Like, again, that is crazy. You look at the way some fucking films are done today, you're wondering what the fuck is the deal? Like, what is the fucking deal then? People want to talk about it's all about inflation, then what the fuck if that's the case? Hell, bump up to $5 million. I've seen movies that cost $20 million that don't feel as big as this. Of course, these people trying to figure out what to do. I'm trying to remember, did they ever show what David M.D. typed on the typewriter? But is it just to a point that now that you have everything, you can do everything, you can... What more is there to do? I mean, you can pick whatever clothes you want, get complacent. I would still fucking stay there as long as I can. I would stay there until every fucking piece of food was gone. That's what I would do. Fine with being complacent. Kind of bitchy of her to say. We'll now find a way to get that film developed. That's what I mean. Like, that's the thing with Galen Ross too. She's a bit of a fucking party pooper. Like, you can tell this sex was great. That's the thing. That's why Galen Ross, I can deal with her, but I'm not in love with her character. She just seems like a fucking glum party pooper all the fucking time. Like, goddamn, lady. Maybe it's her hormones with being pregnant, and you barely see her titties. And yeah, shows how great their sex life is at. Great shot with the sun. Great shot. No lens flares that I noticed. Now, obviously, this shows that there's been a bit of it because she's a bit bigger. Yeah, I don't remember how long it is. But yeah, I think this is when you look in and you see just how decked out the place is. Like they built all this stuff with the guns, all this stuff here. Like look at that furnishing. That looks like a nice place to live, honestly. It really does. What other info is there? Many of the extras cast were friends and relatives of the production crew. The living quarters was not located in the mall. It was a set built at George Romero's then production company. Let's see. The weapons store was never part of the Monroeville Mall. Shot those scenes in their gun shop in downtown Pittsburgh and edited the footage to make it look like it was in the mall. The most profitable film in the Dead series. George Romero wanted to hire Tom Savini for Night of the Living Dead in the 60s, but Savini was going on a tour in Vietnam. The guy with the eye patch, his name is Richard France. That's his name. Let's see. And sorry I'm being silent, just looking through. There's a lot of, looks like a lot of trivia for this. I mean, you guys can read the IMDb trivia, and who knows how much of it is true and how much of it is bullshit, because a lot of people can just fuck around with it, just like Wikipedia. See if someone answered that question I posed. Yeah, sorry, I know it's just me just doing this on the phone, but god damn this fucking phone, man. Fingers are too fat and god damn it. I'm trying to see if Like, how long do people speculate they stayed in this mall? Like, how many months? Yeah, the Sean Clark, his YouTube channel is MALFUNCSEAN, like malfunction, but MALFUNCSEAN. That's where he does his Horrors Hallowed Grounds, and he did a 40-minute one on Dawn of the Dead. It was a pretty good one. Wondering if he's done anything since. Not 3 months ago, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fuck Halloween Ends. Yeah, fuck that shit. Sorry, now I'm on my YouTube. My friend Michael Keane. Check out Rob Zombie's The Monsters on Netflix, and boy, is it bad. No review coming up on this one. It isn't worth it. I didn't oh, he didn't finish the film. Took me 2 days to watch it because I fell asleep both times and I didn't finish it. Yeah, I don't blame you. God damn. What? What the fuck? Man, I shouldn't have checked my phone now. Are you kidding me? Wow. Yeah, sorry folks, you know, as I'm doing this on the day that Coolio has passed away. How the hell? Well, that sucks. Wow, he was only 59. Yeah, sorry guys about the... Just found out just now. That fucking sucks. What the hell? Only 59 years old? What the fuck? Yeah, sorry about that. Cardiac arrest. 59, that still seems pretty damn young. I don't know, that's... I don't know, something about that smells fishy. Maybe it's just me. Man, that sucks though. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That just fucking sucks. Just found out now. Fuck. Anyway. Yeah, sorry about that. So now we're getting to the bikers. Tom Savini and crew. Again, sorry for that 10-15 minutes of dead space. Just apologize for that. We pretty much get into the finale here anyway. We got about 20 some minutes left of the film. Pretty much we have the bikers led by Tom Savini and group trying to get in here. Yeah, in the longer version, like I said, there's a bit more of them planning and how they get in here and a bit more dialogue. And again, because I'm such a big fan, to me the longer the better. Now they're trying to move all these weapons so they can take care of some business here. Want them all for own. I mean, I was just saying, a bit surprised no one raided this place earlier, but here you go. Here's a group of people ready to raid this place. And even though, I mean, the little bits of here you get to see a bit of their personality and fun. This is just a big old jolly ride to just go from place to place, raid everything, and have their fun. Going from town to town like it was the fucking Wild West. And Ken Foray has the right idea, like, we're ready to go anyway, just get the fuck out of here and let them have it. They open up the door, now those zombies are going to be filling up this whole place, and since these guys are being assholes, we're going to leave them a little bit present and get the fuck out. But Flyboy just, again, the temptation. I mean, I don't know what he expected. Like, did he expect to kill all these guys and stay there more? I mean, he already accepted they were going to head out, but so I don't know what the fuck Flyboy's major malfunction was. I guess just temptation of wanting to hold on to this thing. Like consumerism, you want to hold on and keep it, and when that's not the most important stuff. That became sort of his mistake. But he's a character that we've at least showcased been known to make other mistakes, so not the first, but it's going to be his last. I'm glad they didn't go with the ending where everybody fucking died. I don't think that was that was needed. I really don't. Don't think that was needed at all. Shotgun that place, shit. Don't fucking take everything. But yeah, it's one of those weird things, like, what the fuck is that shit gonna do in today's age? Like, jewelry and rings and money. Like, the bit with, you know, did you say with Ken Foray they were just playing around as well? Look at all this money, and hey, you never know. Look, we're robbing it. But like, these guys, they seem a bit more serious about it, and it's like, well, what the fuck are you guys gonna do? And you also see, like, the way Ken Foray then were killing them, it was pretty efficient, quick. Here it's just really playing around and fucking around with them, having a ball. They think this is a damn party. I mean, with the whole pie stuff, that's kind of shows their mentality. They think this is a big old game. So that when the zombies start ripping them apart, it's like, no, these things are fucking serious, and they're not a joke. They think it's a joke. They think it's a gag, and they're so slow. But again, when you fuck around, you don't get your ass handed to you. Which is exactly what happens. Exactly what happens to these fucking fools. I mean, there's a guy that thought he was Billy Badass, Flyboy, and he's not. Taking the bow and arrow, what do you think you are, Rambo? I would love to see Rambo in this type of movie, but, you know, that'd be better than fucking Last Blood. There's all the money. Yeah, what the fuck, all the money, you know, what you don't spend it on, no one gives a shit. Might as well use it for a fireplace. I just maybe that hope that, you know, things would get fixed and things would return to normal, but then you got all this money and now you can spend the shit. It's like, what the fuck you doing when someone's shooting at you? What's pulling up this bullshit? And here Ken Foray's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? But again, this guy thinks he's a cowboy. Thinks he's a cowboy, baby. They had great location they got. Now you have this whole action set piece with the bikers. That's why if you did an actual movie of Dead Rising with a budget, I mean, if they 500,000 with inflation, let's say it was 3 million. That's, you know, more than double, more than triple, more than quadruple. Let's say 3 million. Fine. I mean, if they do that with this, what the hell? Here's a great, one of the best. There you go, right, machete right in there. Which, from what I understand, is one of the inspirations Tom Savini had for killing Jason in the final chapter. Use the machete, use that dad from Dawn of the Dead. And of course, you know, Tom Savini, I should mention him. Like I say, he was in Vietnam. He was going to do Night of the Living Dead. Nice decapitation. He was in Vietnam. This is where the gore really gets in there. Really comes back into the fray. And then we'll get some gut ripping later on. As now Ken Foray's going to have to get into the mix. And he takes some of these guys out. But, yeah, I mean, just be able to have motorcycles over the fucking mall, and just how... I wonder if the people in the mall really knew all this shit was going on. Like, there goes the guy, the big guy. Good stunt. Like, you have to fall into that, and you can't move. Like, there's, yeah, Ken getting some business done. And some people like Tom Savini knows, you know, doing some of these stunts. Because Tom Savini, he liked doing stunts. That's why he liked doing that film Night Riders, where he got to be the star in. And he would do makeup effects. He did Friday the 13th. He did The Burning. He did Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Maniac, Day of the Dead, Creepshow. He didn't work on like some of Joseph Zito, The Prowler. That was one, The Prowler he did. Yeah, because I think he did The Burning. I know he did The Prowler because he worked with Joseph Zito and then worked with little bits in Red Scorpion, Invasion USA, although there wasn't a whole lot for him to do. The guy's arm getting blown off in Red Scorpion. Invasion USA, there wasn't a whole lot for him to do, except maybe some blood squibs. Hey, it's a job. But Invasion USA is not really a gory film at all. Be cool if it was. And you could tell like he got tired doing makeup effects, so then he was more of an actor. Like From Dusk Till Dawn, as Sex Machine, among others. Even in Grindhouse, the deputy that accidentally shoots Michael Biehn. What was the thing like Tom Savini says? I see you, Chocolate Man. I think he calls him Chocolate Man. But he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's not going to say PC shit. He's a bad guy. And it makes sense, you know, Galen Ross is Tara's pregnant. That's why she's up here. And her buck boy fucked everything up. Yeah, I think the power goes back on. That's when he gets fucked up. But, you know, he should have just let it go. Should have just let it go. Is this when Ken Foray shoots Savini? Some nice dodge there. Should hold on to something. Hold on to the cable. Oh, he gets wounded. That's right. Coming up, he gets wounded in the shoulder. How did they know he was in there? I guess they saw him go in there. I guess they mentioned that. Ooh. There you go. Ooh, nice stunt there. Nice swing, Mr. Tarzan. Yeah, this is when he gets it by Ken Foray. Good stunt as well. Nice door dodge. There you go. Time for you to go. Call me Chocolate Man. Boom. He takes care of this Mr. Tommy gun here too. That's when you're going to get a lot more of the gut ripping. Take care of your sorry ass. There's you, Mr. Tarzan. And one more for him to shoot, I believe. Mr. Tommy gun here. So I mean, a lot of the bikers make out, but not all of them. Thanks to this piece of business. There you go, right. Nah. Though, give him some dinner. Try to kill me. Have fun, motherfucker. You would think it would have been Tom Savini that he would have done that to let get ripped apart. And then this guy, it shows how much of a fucking idiot he is. Like, do a blood pressure thing. Again, they don't take it seriously. And this is why you should take these guys seriously. You made us to be a joke. We want to show you how fucking serious we are. This is a horror film. We want to show what we're capable of because of our number. And how many of us there are. He should have just gone up. He should not have come down there in the first place. Stupid of him to do that. Again, he should have just left the walkie-talkie and just gone up through the vent. You have more of the gore here. Ripping apart and stuff. Couldn't happen to a better group of people. That's what you get, you know. Well, Ken Foray didn't kill that guy either, wounded him, but led to his death. Come on, yeah, I'd get some zombies ripping some guts out. Gotta do that. And I'm sure some of the times that I don't want to eat it, so I'll put it here, or I'll put it here, or I'll... Yeah, I'm eating it. Yeah, but David MD's now going to get it. That's a good shot. Zombies to camera. Good shot. And he does a good job portraying a zombie as well, especially when he has the gun. He puts the finger up and the gun's just hanging there. Very good zombie actor. Obviously, he turned quicker than Scott Ryder because he got bit more and more vital parts, like especially the neck. I think, yeah, the neck he gets it, I believe, coming up, which is a very vital part. Means he died a lot quicker. I mean, he's been shot, and then he got bit in the leg, in the ankle. But now he's going to get bit in the neck. There you go. That was definitely the killing blow. Now I say, what do you do? Maybe deep down. I think deep down he knew he wasn't going to make it. And he was right. Followed his instincts. But yeah, that's why he turns a lot faster than Scott Reiner, because that neck wound especially let him with all the other wounds, bled to death quicker, and then became a zombie quicker. The quicker picker upper zombies. He let the consumerism, that greedy part, whatever, wouldn't let it go, and now, there you go. And also with this thing, it came with a comic book, which probably goes up to when they get to the mall. Kind of cool thing they did there. Because there's a Dawn of the Dead trade paperback, which I don't have that. But I guess, I'm like, well, I got the movie, so I would just watch the movie. But it's, still cool to see. Like that bit there. And you even have this. This shows a bit of a map of the mall, as well as the features. So I'm going to read what's in this. For those who don't have this. The U.S. theatrical cut runs 127 minutes, about 2 hours and 7 minutes. Released in theaters 1979 by United Film Distribution Company. I keep thinking it's 78, but they said they came out in 79. Or at least in theaters. Finished score comprised of original music from Goblin. The 139-minute version, referred to as the director's cut, when in fact the theatrical edition is George Romero's preferred version. It was created to use to premiere the film at the 1978 Cannes Film Festival and contains numerous additional scenes, score, and a music score filled with library tracks. I like the library tracks. European version, running 118 minutes, is the shortest version, was edited by Dario Argento. There's scene extensions, but also skips over several scenes from the North American version, usually some more comedic stuff like the pie fight. It also contains more music from Goblin. U.S. version has a commentary with George Romero, Tom Savini, assistant director Chris Romero, moderated by DVD producer Perry Martin, TV spots, radio spots, poster and advertising gallery. Extended version has commentary with producer Richard B. Rubenstein. That should have been the cast. Monroeville Mall commercial, behind the scenes photo gallery, memorabilia gallery, production stills. European version, that's where you get the commentary with David M.D., Ken Foray, Scott Reiner, Dalen Ross. Just have no one do that. Just have a second commentary. You want Richard Rubenstein? Have two commentaries on the extended cut then. International trailers, UK TV spots, international lobby card. And the documentaries. You have the Dead Will Walk documentary, where they interview Claudio Argento, Dario Argento, Pat Buba, Tony Buba, Zilla Clinton, David Early, David M.D., Ken Foray, Dalen Ross, Scott Reiner, George A. Romero, Chris Romero, Tom Savini. Clayton Hill, John Harrison, Michael Gornick. I think... I can't remember. Oh, then you have the original documentary made back in the day by Roy Frumkes, Document of the Dead. On-set home movies with audio commentary with zombie extra Robert Lehner, and Monroeville Mall tour with actor Ken Foray. I think there was a Blu-ray set. Overseas, they had a bit more features. Like, you could have a full-blown set with, including the Mall Hours cut, and there's been a shitload of other features made since then, and we'll like to see a commentary with George Romero and the cast watching the longer cut. But, it is what it is. Now, I remember when I got to this ending as a kid. This is embarrassing, but I'll admit it. Yeah, I think that guy, that zombie, he's one of the guys interviewed. I forget his name. I think I read off his name on that documentary. But in the original cut, Ken Foray was going to shoot himself, and Galen Ross was going to put her head in a helicopter blade. This hopeless, bleak ending again, and I don't know if he talked himself out of it or someone else did, but whoever did, I'm glad, because I don't think that would have worked. And I remember as a kid, I'm enjoying the film, the action, the environment, the characters, yeah, really enjoying everything. And then I got to this, and I went, what the fuck? And then I was like bummed out. I'm like, fuck. Because I think even then I had heard about Night of the Living Dead. I had not seen that movie yet, but I knew about the ending. And I went, oh god, this is going to be the same thing. What the fuck? I was getting pissed off. And I didn't, this was... It wasn't me as a little kid. This was, I will admit, me as a... You know what? I can't remember when that was. So maybe it was, I was younger than I thought. So maybe it was like 90... Yeah, because I don't think Auntie was around. Maybe it was like 95. I can't remember the year. Maybe it was like 95, 96. Where I was like, I don't know. I can't remember. I think it was like 13. Maybe I was, yeah, I was probably like 14 maybe. 13, 14, more I think about it. Because I remember being bummed about this. I'm like, in like 13, 14-year-old. My memory's hazy on that. And I'm like, fuck. And then when Ken Foray has this, you know what, fuck this. And has like this John Wayne type of music. I was on the bed, jumping on it. Yeah, did it, fuck, you know. It's embarrassing, but I admit, as a 13, 14-year-old, I'm on the bed, I'm jumping on the bed, like, yeah, go, Ken, yeah. I didn't even know the actor's name. Yeah, yeah, go, man, go. He's like punching, he's kicking, shoot, even up here, he's like punching some more. Yeah, yeah, you know, yeah, see him, man, see her. Don't leave him. Punching, I think he does like a kick here, like a jump kick, boom. He's side kick. Going back to the getting that gun, he likes the gun better. He gets on the helicopter. I'm like, yeah. I think it was kind of one of those being too passionate to this day about movies, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. Please stick to the landing. I didn't think in those terms as a kid, but it's like a reflection, a retrospect. Oh, stick to the ending, stick to the landing, and it does. And this Ken Foray, okay, let's see what happens. And they fly off. Not quite into the sunset because it's still a bleak world, but with a little bit of hope. A little bit of hope. Give me a smidgen of it. You know, Ken Foray, maybe they went to the same island as Day of the Dead. And they met, you know, those characters. And I always like this music, which, if you watch that show Robot Chicken, with Seth Green, at the end it's this music. Clayton Hill, I think that's the actor at the end. I was mentioned that I was on the documentary. I think his name's Clayton Hill. We saw coming towards that I mentioned. I think that's him. John Amplis, yeah, he was casting. He was Martin in the George Romero's earlier film. Oh, Clayton Hill was the weapons coordinator. Well, a lot of people had multiple jobs on this. But I love this film. This film still holds up. This film is still a classic. Absolutely love this movie. Makes me want to watch the Ball Hours cut now. But yeah, I love it. I don't know what else to say. It's an absolute classic. You could go into the details of consumerism, but it doesn't bonk you over the head. It still, first and foremost, is entertainment, unlike movies today. It's fun. It's gory. It's got a lot of action. It's a great look. Even the look of this mall, it's nostalgic. And yeah, 1978, Dawn of the Dead. Absolute classic. I remember watching this as a kid, the VHS, had a big smile on my face. And I knew then, this is now one of my favorite films ever. And it still is to this day, after all these years. So, I mean, despite my 15 minutes of mess up on the phone trying to look for trivia, then, sadly finding out Coolio passed away, may he rest in peace. Other stuff. Other than that, this actually went pretty easy going, this commentary. I know it's a bit long, but, it's the extended version. At least the Cannes Film Festival version on this. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. I don't know if anyone made it to the end, but if so, thank you. Bye-bye.